Hey guys, welcome back to Ride Review. My name is Mitch Hackman, and today we are here checking out the brand new KQi 100P from NIU. So this is the new, if you will. And before we get into sort of our ride review of this thing, let's go ahead and touch on some of the important specs. Rear hub, 300 watt motor. As you can tell, it's pretty quiet. Top speed of 28 kilometers per hour. Foldable. A total weight of 38.8 pounds and a max range of 18 miles. So those are some of the big specs. Let's go ahead and dive into the rest of the review. So when you come up here, you go ahead and, well, I already got it on. Let's go ahead and turn it on. So press and hold the power button here. Boom, it's gonna turn on, and then it's gonna show us miles per hour. Now you see this D here, this is gonna be our dynamic mode, which is actually pretty interesting. Maybe one of the most interesting things about the scooter is you actually go in there and adjust and kind of make your own ride mode. So I'll show you when you get into the app a little bit how we do that, but it is interesting because you can go in there and basically make your own ride feel. If you want it to be super slow cruising, you can set that as your dynamic mode. Now I have mine turned up all the way off. I've turned off the regenerative braking and I've turned off the push to start. And that's how I would ride the scooter. So that's how we're gonna review the scooter. A couple things to note here before we dive into it, and just so I don't forget to mention it, it does have a kick to start, which comes standard. You gotta get the app, log in, you can turn that off. It's got a cruise control, which you can turn on, which I don't have installed. Mainly do a lot of biking stuff, and cruise control on bikes is weird. Never really got used to it on scooters, but for some longer commutes, I think that could make sense. Now, once we get in there and adjust some of those things, again, I turn it on to dynamic mode, so that's kind of how I have it. It does come with regenerative braking, and in the app you can adjust how much of that you want. So if you want a little bit of regenerative braking, you kind of like the, you know, either the feel of it or you're looking to kind of extend your range a little bit, you can put the regenerative braking in there, but I went in there and turned it off because I think the mechanical brake here does enough of the work for me. So let's go ahead and dive into it a little bit further as far as the display goes. So you can see it's on Bluetooth. It is connected to the app, which is in my pocket. And we've got a twist throttle on this side, which will work, but obviously used to having a brake on that side. So we got a twist throttle here instead of a thumb throttle, so that's an interesting choice. I think with most of the scooters, at least most of the scooters I've tested this year, a lot of them had thumb throttles. So going with the twist throttle I think is interesting. Still a big fan of the thumb throttles. In my opinion, it just gives you a better grip on the handlebars. You're just taking your thumb off, whereas this one, you really got to change your whole grip to kind of, you know, get where you need to go. And on scooters, grip is everything because that's your main control point here. You got a lot of leverage kind of coming up the stem to where you're up here. So a lot of leverage as far as how the steering mechanism works out. But yeah, we got a twist throttle here, so that is interesting. Now, one of my favorite features, I'm gonna show that to you real quick, is actually how this thing folds up. Now, a lot of scooters fold and, you know, that's cool, but with this one, we'll go ahead and, I'm trying to do this with one hand. So you pop this down. Actually, I'm not gonna do it with one hand. I'll pop it over here, get you guys a good angle. All right, I think that's a good angle. All right, so go ahead and you wanna do the handlebars like so. But this is where the magic happens, and I'll bring it up here for a close-up. So as you put it down here, it clicks in right here, and then it's folded up. And you can lift it up, and you're good to go. Now that is very interesting, because a lot of the folding mechanisms, it's like a hook, and you gotta kind of, you know, finagle it in there. This one, you just pop it down, and it, boop, boop, it has a spring in there, so it just snaps into place. And then to unfold it, all you gotta do is press this in. See, it's taking it out of that latch there, and then you can fold it up. So you take that latch out, boom, folds up, snap it back into place, and we're ready to ride. So in my opinion, very cool folding mechanism that they got here on the 100P. So let's talk about some other important scooter things. If you are going to be riding this in the city, you probably are wondering, does it have lights? Now you can see this light here in the back is on. Now this is a running light, so this is always on, but we do have braking integration here. So we press the brake, boom, light comes on as you pull down the brake. So that's pretty interesting, a nice little safety feature in my opinion. And then to turn the lights on, we come up here, it's a little double tap right here. And we get a little light indicator here, and then our light turns on in the front. So that is pretty interesting. I do like the headlights way up here. It's up off the ground. Some of the lights come down here, which is silly, but having a light that's a little bit higher up gives you a better throw angle. And also cars are kind of used to looking about this height for you, you know, because they're used to looking for cars. And we still have the brake integration, so got our light on here. Braking integration still works. Obviously that backlight just stays on, which in my opinion doesn't take too much of the battery out of it, so I don't think it's really gonna be affecting our range, and it is a little bit safer, so I do like that. Now one thing I do kind of like, this is a strange thing, but you turn the lights off and the light just kind of like dims, and also when it comes on it kind of dims up. So I don't know, something about that just feels kind of smooth. I kind of like that. So the light's on there, big safety thing. The next thing to look at is deck space. So as far as the length goes, I think they did a pretty good job of giving us some decent length here. We'll probably fit a wide variety of riders. Now, in the sense of wide variety of riders, we don't have an adjustable stem, so the stem is what it is. So if you're, you know, taller, your hands are gonna be down a little bit, and if you're shorter, your hands are gonna be up a little bit. If you are 5'10", your hands are gonna be just like this. All right, so the next thing to look at is deck width. So the deck width here is just a little bit over 5 inches. A lot of good grip here. Now this is like a plastic, so it's not a rubber like we've seen on some of the other scooters, but felt like I had a pretty good grip here. We do have a little bit of a semi-kick pad here in the back. Obviously you don't want to be putting your weight on here because it's just the rear fender folding area, but decent grip here. Now something that is pretty cool and what is fairly unique to this scooter is the charging mechanism here. So the charge port, we got this 3-prong setup, which to be honest, I haven't seen before, but it works pretty nice. And then you just pop that back in there. Haven't really had any issues with that, you know, popping out, especially because this is all, you know, a little bit lower to the ground. We've got about, I would say about 3 inches of clearance at the smallest point, which is here in the back. As you can see, it sort of slants down a little bit. And let me see if I can turn this around. I'll flip it for you guys. But you see how it starts off a little bit taller, probably closer to 4 inches, and it slopes back to about 3 inches here in the rear. So a little bit of a slope there. And I'll have to finagle with the video to make that work for you guys. We do have a full set of fenders. So we got fenders in the front, decent coverage here. They are pretty wide, which I think is nice. A lot of scooters aren't necessarily as wide as they should be, but I feel like they kind of did a really good job here with the fender situation they got going on. Frame design is actually very simple. We just got these straight rods that run all the way to the back up to the front. We got some welded up here. It says NIU right here, there. That's how you spell it. Guess you didn't read the title of this video. So the next thing to look at is going to be these tires. Now these are a very street-centric tire, so not something that's going to be great for off-roading, and they are pneumatic. So we do have something that's pretty interesting in my opinion about this is a lot of scooter tires, they come out of the center and they've got these little like 45-degree or like bent stems that come out of here. But these valves here, and these are just regular straighter valves, as you can see, they just automatically come off at a 45, which is going to make getting a pump on this pretty darn easy, in my opinion. Decent little caps. These are also metal instead of being plastic. Not sure why I can't get that angle right. There we go. And as we're down here, something you might notice is we've got front suspension. So this is not a full suspension scooter. The only spot of suspension is up here in the front. Not a whole lot of travel, but if you've ridden a scooter without any suspension, you'll know that you know, a little bit of travel goes a long way when it comes to scooters. We've got our mechanical disc brake, or I'm sorry, drum brake up here in the front. So that's this right there. That's what we're using with that lever up on that side. And then we do have the regenerative braking, which does stop it a little bit quicker. As I mentioned, I took it off for my dynamic mode, but we can throw that on there when we get to the ride test and walk through some of that. So all in all, it is a pretty decent scooter. Now you're probably wondering at this point, what is the price tag? The truth is I don't know yet. So we're gonna have that in the description. I'll put that as our first comment as far as what the price is. Because a lot of times you look at these scooters and you're like, oh, that's really cool, and then, you know, sometimes the price tag may make or break it for you. So if I knew the price tag already, there might be some different ways I would approach some of this stuff as far as oh, it's got lights. Like, well, it better have lights for this price, or it's incredible that they got the lights in here at this price. So again, I don't know at the time of this recording, but we'll have all that information down there for you guys. So all in all, fairly impressed with it. I do really like the dynamic mode, as I was talking about, and we'll go ahead and throw on the chest mount, and we'll do some test riding, and then we'll walk through the app at the end and kind of close it out with some final thoughts. So let's get to it. All right, so we got the app pulled up. Really looks like you're just looking at me, so hello. If you can see it, what we're doing is we're gonna go down here to customize your ride, and this is where we can turn off our Kickstarter nut, we can put on our regenerative braking, set a battery charge limit, and then dynamic mode. I'm gonna turn that off. So we're gonna get our regular mode here. So let's go ahead and cruise with that for a bit. Just kind of see how it responds, how it feels. There we go. Scooter's a little short to get a good, that's not bad. All right, so we're going for top speed here. Should get us to about that 17, 18 mile an hour mark. Yep, 17, 18. 17 flashing 18. And again, we've got our regenerative braking turned off, so you can really coast pretty well, which is kind of what I liked about turning that off. Is, you know, you're going and you want to stop for a second, it still feels like a scooter, you're still rolling pretty good, and you still obviously have got that front brake if you need to stop. And the front brake is not powerful enough to where if you just smash on it, like, I'm not going over the handlebars. So pretty simple as far as that goes. You know, pop it on, use it. Now I'm gonna get back into the app here real quick, and we go to dynamic mode. Again, it feels like it's just reflecting it, just looking at me. So dynamic mode, we're going to turn that on. Now in settings, you can go in here and actually customize it. So you can put the acceleration, they got wild on this side, chills on this side, standards in the middle, and a couple of half ones in between. But you guys know me, I'm going to do wild, because that's what I do. And then max speed, you can set your max speed to, 4 kilometers an hour, 28 kilometers an hour, which is that 17, 18 miles an hour we were getting. And then I'm going to turn on dynamic mode only. So then dynamic mode is going to show up here. So we got the D over there. Now this screen isn't flashing, it's just a refresh rate on synchronization here. So go ahead and we'll hit it. Again, pretty decent acceleration off the line. I mean, we're not peeling out with a rear hub motor, but I'm trying to bend down and get you guys a better ride feel here. It gets up to that 17 miles an hour pretty easily. Now for 17 miles an hour, this is not something I don't think that would do really well. It's obviously not keeping up with traffic, but it is pretty maneuverable. So you see, I just avoided that truck there. Pretty maneuverable, and it's a decent pace for places that scooters are allowed. The different places have different rules as far as like scooters on the sidewalk, scooters in the bike paths, whatever. But 17, 18 miles per hour, not too shabby. Would I like to go faster? Sure. I'm always down to go faster. See, I'm saying that braking works pretty good. It's pretty maneuverable as I smash into the pole. It's pretty maneuverable. As long as you don't smash into the pole, you're good to go. So look at that. See what I'm saying? It's pretty darn maneuverable. So not too shabby. Let's sneak over this way a little bit here. Yeah, as far as ride feel goes, you definitely get a little bit of that absorption up in the front, and the fact that these are tires with some air in them, which a lot of scooters these days don't come with. I think that helps the ride feel out quite a bit. Now obviously I'm not going on any sort of there's not really any bumps here. There's a couple of separating wood pieces and such, but nothing too intense. And again, super maneuverable, as long as you don't run into those poles. So now I do want to turn on the regenerative braking. You obviously see me not use the regenerative braking. Let's go ahead and turn that on and feel how that feels. Regenerative braking. All right, so we're gonna go in here and we will set regenerative braking to strong. Okay, let's see about that. Now we're still in our dynamic mode, so we're still gonna get that takeoff, get up to speed, and then we'll let go and see how long it takes to stop. I mean, pretty smooth. It's not jarring. Obviously, you can tell we came to a stop pretty quick, whereas when we turn it off, we really do quite a bit of coasting. But the thing that I don't necessarily like about it is, like, for example, I went to go do that corner, so I let off this a little bit, and then it starts to stop. Whereas I'm sort of feeling like I'm ready to go, I'm ready to do something, I'm going to make a turn, and it starts slowing down. I think you could get used to it, and you know, if the regenerative braking actually does improve your range, maybe that makes sense for you. But I also feel like, you know, just coasting would probably get you the same sort of range boost. So if you get, you know, you get up to speed, and you let go around a corner, and you just do some coasting, but then with the regenerative braking, it's like, I mean, it really tries to stop you. So that's why I would turn regenerative braking off. Now the next thing to look at, we'll pull over on this side real quick, because I'm gonna turn that off. Like I said, don't really like it, but it is cool that they gave you the option to be able to adjust that there in the app. So let's see here. All right, turn that off, thank you. And then we're gonna do the auto cruise. So after remaining the same speed for 5 seconds, cruise control will be activated and the vehicle will will travel automatically at the speed until the brakes are applied. So 5 seconds, so we'll hit that top speed for 5 seconds. Well, actually, let's see if we can do it without top speed. So let's try to do like 6. Wait for 5 seconds. Okay, not at 6 seconds. I guess it's gotta be max, or we didn't hold it long enough. And for most people that are going on a really long cruise, you'd probably want to be on cruise control at max speed anyway, so maybe we'll get a beep or something. Usually they'll beep at you. Now we're just coasting. It's going back and forth between 16, 17, and 18. I think that's where we're running into some issues with that cruise control not setting in. Let's see if we can hit a consistent speed for 5 seconds. There we go. Okay, so it does beep, and then we get a little indicator right up there if you can see it. Shows like a little speedometer and an arrow, and now you see I'm not holding the throttle, and we're cruising at 16 miles an hour. So that would be pretty handy, as long as you can kind of get it to set there, and it looked like it did it pretty easily when we were doing it at top speed. And we're good to go. Then all we have to do is apply the brake just a little bit, and then yep, that indicator goes away, and now we're just coasting. So that works pretty well. And again, on bikes, I don't necessarily like cruise control, but on scooters, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're going on a couple mile jaunt and you're just going from point A to point B. Yeah, throw on cruise control, cruise around, all that jazz. Cut, boom. Now it does stop a little bit better when you have that regenerative braking on, because you kind of got 2 modes of stopping. But all in all, I think it is a pretty decent scooter. Come up here, there you go, look at that. That's the finishing shot right there. So, yeah, final thoughts. I mean, it is pretty simple. It's pretty basic. I don't expect this price point to be something that is outrageous. But again, I don't know what it is yet. So, we will find out soon. And like I said, that will be down in the comments or in the description. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out for a ride review. Gotta find a better way to say that, so I'm just saying review 2 times in a row. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.